Hello everyone, my name is Jonathan Brannon. I'm the trainer here at 3Disc. Today I'm going to be demonstrating the Heron iOS scanner for you today. This is the Heron iOS scanner. It is currently the lightest handheld scanner on the market, coming in at 5 ounces or 150 grams. Unsurpassable ergonomics. Our tip is designed to rotate for scanning on the upper and lower arch. To scan on the upper, I'm going to simply click on the tip release button. That rotates the tip for the upper, and then back down for the lower. This also releases the tip completely from the scanner. Our tips are autoclavable up to 250 times. Now I'm going to share my screen and show you how our software Heron Clinic works. So this is the interface of our Heron Clinic software. To start, simply click on your username, click Create New Patient, enter your patient's name, then click Create. This now highlights your patient, and now you can start your case simply by clicking on Add Case. This now takes you to the treatment page. This is where you will now choose what type of treatment that your patient will be receiving while they're getting scanned. So we'll do a crown for tooth number 14. We'll choose the material and the shade. Once that's completed, I will then click Next. This now brings you into our scanning software. This is where you will start scanning your patient. There are several tools that you can use also in this, and I will show you how those work. The first tool that I'm going to show you how to use is the intraoral camera function. To activate the intraoral camera while you're scanning, simply press the letter C, and that will capture still frame photos while you're scanning. So I will do that. The pictures will then come up in the lower left-hand corner there. So I'm going to start scanning. And for crown work, all you have to do is scan a quadrant. As with all iOS scanners, there are scan path strategies that are recommended for the users to follow. With ours, it is to start on the occlusal surface, complete your occlusal surfaces, rotate at a 45-degree angle to the lingual, filling in your lingual surfaces, then rotating around the most posterior tooth to the buccal at a 45-degree angle, then coming forward, filling in that quadrant, and then dropping down 90 to fill in any proximal spaces that may have been missed, and to grab some gingiva as well. As you can see, the photos are here that we took. Now I'm going to drop down to the lower to scan in the lower quadrant. Now I'm going to demonstrate some of the tools that can be used after you've scanned. For example, say if I had a pool of saliva on tooth number 18, I could simply choose the erase function, highlight the area by simply clicking on Control to activate the eraser, and then highlighting using my left mouse button to erase the area that I want to erase. Once I've completed the highlight area, I'll then click on the trash can icon. I will click OK. That is now going to remove that surface, and I can go back in and scan those surfaces in. Also, I can now measure the distance as well. To activate the measuring tool, simply click on the ruler. Once again, you'll press the control button, choose your point, choose your second point, and that gives you your distance. To deactivate, I'll just click back on the on the measuring tool. I will now obtain my byte by clicking on next. So for the byte, I have the patient open. I place the scanner in the cheek, have the patient place their tongue to the roof of their mouth and slowly close. Once the byte has locked in, the scanner automatically turns itself off. Some tools that are nice to have with the byte is I have an occlusal distance map. This is a nice tool to have when determining how much clearance you have between the prep and the opposing tooth. And that tells you if you have that 1.5 millimeters or however many millimeters that you would like to have from that prep, so you can know when you write your lab prescription. I can open the byte. This now shows me where the occlusion is. I can close the byte. I can also look and see that occlusion as if the mouth was closed. By simply using the sliders, it makes the upper bite transparent, and I can see those teeth completely in occlusion. You could do that with the lower as well. Also, another nice function is if you were to mistakenly scan the lower arch on the upper and then the upper on the lower, you would take your bite as normal. Then once you've obtained the bite, you will then select the swap jaw function that then places the jaws in the proper orientation. Once I've completed that, I will then finalize my scans and go to my lab page by simply clicking on the icon here or choosing next. Also, if you are a busy office and you are looking to move patients out, all you have to do is simply click on the home button. That then takes you back to the home page, which then when you have time, you can come in and finalize your files and send them to the lab then. But I'm going to finalize this file and show you the lab page. In the finalization aspect, what our software is doing any hole filling, making sure that you have good, clean files. This is the lab page that you would use to send your cases to the lab. Once again, it shows you your files here, also the 2D images that were taken. To send this to the lab, if I were sending this through the Heron cloud, I would click Send to Lab. That will then send it through the cloud. If I'm using email or Dropbox, I would click Export Files, click on my desktop, and save my cases to my desktop so I can upload them in Dropbox. I'm now going to show you full arch. So I will go back to my home page. I'm going to use the same patient. I'm going to add case. For this one, we are going to do a night guard. So I'll just choose a tooth, choose orthodontics, then click next. Once again, this goes into the scanning software. So now I'm going to scan my upper and lower arches and the bite. If the patient needs a break while you're scanning, you can remove the scanner from the patient's mouth, give them a break, and then go back into scanning. I'm now going to scan my lower. My lower is now completed. I'll now go to my bite scan. Now for full arch, you will have to take what's called a bilateral bite. That's a bite from each side. I'll choose next. Now what this is, our upper and lower arch are loading in. While waiting for this, I'll normally have my patient open. I will place the scanner in the cheek of their mouth. Once again, have them place their tongue to the roof of their mouth and slowly close. When I'm obtaining the bite, I start at the centric line, coming towards the midline. Then I transition to the upper arch, move back towards the posterior, lock in the upper, drop down to my lower, lock in my lower as I'm coming forward. As you can see now, it is asking now to please scan the opposing bite. Once again, once my bite has locked in, my scanner automatically turns off. And this processing time takes about 45 seconds to a minute, give or take. And there you have your bite. Once again, I can finalize, or I can just go back to my home page. If I were to then want to go back in to finalize my files, I would just click the patient, the case. I would then click on the bite. And then I would click finalize. This takes about a minute to a minute 15 to finalize these files. As stated, if you don't have the time with the patient in chair, you can click on the home button and then come back later and finalize your files and then send them to the lab. Now that it is finalized, once again, you are now back at your lab page where you would send to your lab. So this concludes the Heron IOS demonstration. Thank you once again.